A routine traffic stop turns into something much bigger when two white police officers pulled over a black man, suspecting him of wrongdoing. They question him aggressively, not realizing he's not just any driver, he's a lawyer. Despite his calm demeanor and clear explanations, they detain him, treating him with little respect. What they don't know is that this moment will come back to haunt them in a way they never expected. Months later, those same officers find themselves in court, facing serious charges for misconduct. Desperate to save their careers, they appeal the case, hoping for a second chance. But when they step into the courtroom, they freeze. The judge presiding over their appeal is the same man they once detained on the side of the road. Now, the power dynamic has completely shifted, and justice is about to be served. How will the judge rule? Stay tuned. The officers exchange nervous glances as they sit in the courtroom, their confidence fading with every passing second. They remember that night all too well. The flashing lights, the stern voices, the handcuffs tightening around the lawyer's wrists. Back then, they never imagined he would one day sit on the other side of the bench, wearing the black robe of a judge. Now, his calm but commanding presence fills the room, and they can't ignore the weight of their own actions. The prosecutor lays out the case against them: unlawful detention, abuse of authority, clear misconduct. The officers had argued that they were just doing their jobs, following their instincts. But now those same instincts have brought them here, pleading for another chance. The judge listens in silence, his expression unreadable. He knows exactly what it feels like to be on the receiving end of their power, and soon they will know what it means to face true justice. The courtroom is silent, but the tension is thick. The officers shift in their seats, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on them. They had been here before, on the other side, giving testimony, making arrests, controlling the narrative. But today, they are the ones being judged. The irony is impossible to ignore. As the prosecutor continues, the judge listens intently, his fingers steepled under his chin. His mind drifts back to that night, the flashing lights, the suspicion in their eyes, the way they dismissed his words as if he didn't matter. He remembers how they tightened the cuffs when he calmly told them he was a lawyer, how they only let him go after running his ID and realizing their mistake. No apology, no accountability, just a cold, reluctant release. Now, the officer's defense attorney speaks, painting them as men who made an unfortunate misjudgment. But was it just a mistake, or something deeper? The judge isn't just deciding their appeal, he's deciding what justice really means. The judge exhales slowly, keeping his expression steady as the defense attorney continues to argue for leniency. The officers had years of service, no prior complaints. This was just an error in judgment, a misunderstanding. But the judge knows better. He knows how quickly a misunderstanding can turn into something life-altering. He knows how different this case might have looked if he hadn't been a lawyer that night, if he hadn't had the knowledge and the voice to push back. The courtroom feels smaller now, the air heavier. The officers are no longer shifting in their seats. They're sitting stiff, their eyes darting to the judge, searching for some sign of what he's thinking. The prosecutor finishes the final argument, laying out the facts one last time. There is no escaping what happened. The body cam footage, the testimonies, it's all there. The judge leans forward slightly. His next words will decide their fate. The officers hold their breath. Everyone in the room waits. Just as the room tenses in anticipation, the judge glances down at a document on his desk, one that hadn't been introduced yet. He lifts it slightly, his expression unreadable. The defense attorney frowns, clearly unaware of what's coming. The officers exchange a quick, nervous glance. Then, the judge finally speaks. "There's something that hasn't been addressed," he says, his voice steady but firm. "A new piece of evidence was submitted this morning." He turns the page slowly, the silence in the room stretching unbearably. "An internal report from your own department." The officers visibly tense. The judge scans the page, his jaw tightening. "It seems this wasn't the first time you've conducted a stop like this. In fact, complaints have been filed before, complaints that were quietly dismissed. The revelation ripples through the courtroom. The defense attorney's confidence wavers. The officers look pale now, their carefully rehearsed expressions cracking. Suddenly, this isn't just about one mistake. It's a pattern, one that can no longer be ignored. The courtroom is frozen. The officers sit stiffly, their faces drained of confidence. The defense attorney scrambles, flipping through papers, trying to regain control. But there's no undoing this. The truth is out. This wasn't just one bad decision. It was a pattern of behavior, a history of abusing authority and walking away without consequences. But today, they're not walking away. The judge sets the file down and looks directly at them. "Your appeal is denied," he states, his voice calm but firm. The words land like a gavel strike, final and undeniable. The officers blink, as if struggling to process what just happened. Their last hope of escaping accountability is gone. Then, just as the courtroom begins to settle, the judge leans forward slightly. "One more thing," he says. The room goes silent again. The district attorney's office has opened an investigation into these past complaints. This isn't over. The officer's face is pale. This wasn't just about their appeal anymore. Their entire careers, maybe even their freedom, are now on the line. The officers sit in stunned silence as the weight of the judge's words sinks in. The reality is unavoidable now. There will be no easy way out. The same system they once controlled is finally holding them accountable. As the judge stands, signaling the end of the hearing, the courtroom slowly empties. The prosecutor gathers their files, satisfied that justice has been served. The defense attorney avoids eye contact, knowing there's nothing left to argue. The officers remain seated, staring blankly ahead, their futures uncertain. The judge walks back to his chambers, pausing for just a moment. He takes a deep breath, reflecting on how life had brought him to this exact moment. He had once been powerless in front of these same officers. But today, he proved that justice isn't about who holds the power. It's about who chooses to use it the right way. With that, he closes the door behind him.